I have never been as much on the fence about a game as I have with this one. The game has many flaws. Many flaws. Some of which are so egregious that they damn near ruin the game. But on the other hand, this game also has several virtues that save it from being a complete disaster. So anyway, let's get into it. Die Hard Nakatomi Plaza for the PC. If one were to grade a video game adaptation based solely on how closely it looked to its film counterpart, then Die Hard Nakatomi Plaza would get an A+. No problem. The graphics are extraordinarily well done and look very close to the film. Hell, nearly every set from the film is done justice here. The Nakatomi Plaza lobby, the 30th floor, the 32nd, the 33rd, the roof, the vault. Even some of the regular corridors look just like the film. This is one of those cases where sometimes I just like to walk around and look at the settings just to admire how closely they adhere to the film. When it comes to the visual design of the levels, they did an outstanding job duplicating the look of the film. Unfortunately, when it comes to the movie characters, they didn't do quite so well. Actually, I'm being charitable here. In short, they fumbled the ball big time. Or in Die Hard movie parlance, the quarterback got toasted. In many cases, the character design in the cutscenes looks fucking embarrassing! I mean, I don't understand it. How can they do such a fantastic job on the level design, but then turn around and make the characters look like shit? It's truly baffling to me. Just look at these characters. Okay, I'll start with the good ones. Holly and Al look alright. I mean, they won't win any awards, but at least they remotely resemble their film counterparts. But the other characters, though, oh dear lord. First, let's look at Hans Gruber. One of the best movie villains ever, and this is what he looks like? Jesus Christ, he looks fucking terrible! My god, it looks like the poor guy's got Down syndrome. Couldn't they have made Hans look a little bit better? I feel bad for the late Alan Rickman. The guy gave such a great performance, and surely he didn't deserve to have his character portrayed like this. And this is the final character model, folks, not a pre-render. Actually, even as a pre-render, this would be embarrassing. I just hope that the game designers ran out of money and time, and this was the best they could do. Because if it wasn't... Ugh. The other terrorists don't fare too well either. Carl, sheesh! Look at him! He also looks mentally retarded. Was the directive from up on high to make every character look like a retard? Because if it was, they succeeded grandly. I feel bad for the late Alexander Godunov, too. Looks like he also got shafted. So did still living actors like Clarence Gilliard Jr. I don't remember Theo from the film being bald and fat and having a lighter shade of blackness like Scatman Crothers. What, did they just skip the parts of the film with Theo in it or something? And some of the characters look flat out wrong. For example, Ellis. They made him look like William H. Macy. Last time I checked, Hart Bochner and William Macy don't look anything alike. Okay, maybe it was an issue with his likeness or some shit like that, but even then they could have done a little bit better. Not to mention that the character models in the cutscenes look as stiff as the Hulk on Extends. They don't even look human. They look like half-formed pod people. And the way they sound in their dialogue? But I'll get to that later. Woo boy, are we in for a treat. Yeah, like a Kit Kat covered in shit. Funny enough, the only characters who look good are the in-game generic terrorists. I don't get it. You make the principal characters look terrible and the generic characters look good. Was this game made in Bizarro Land? What's even more odd is that some of the graphical details from the movie are right on the money, and some of them aren't. Like the walkie-talkies. The game is set in the 80s, yet the walkie-talkies look like they come from 2002 when the game was released. Also, Hans carries a Beretta when he kills Takagi, when he should be carrying an HK P7M13 pistol. And the flashbang grenades don't look like hockey pucks. Yet there are some other graphical details that they got right on the money. Like McLean's Beretta 92F pistol, the MP5 submachine gun, the Steyr AUG rifle, the Zippo lighter. How can a game be so wrong about some details, yet so right about some other ones? See what I mean when I say I'm torn about this game? Moving on to the controls, I think they're one aspect of the game that works well. Now the keyboard controls are pretty basic. It's WSAD controls to move McClane. In other words, W moves him forward, A moves him to the left, S moves him back, and D moves him to the right. Moving the mouse allows McClane to look around and aim. The Q button allows you to peek left around corners, while the E button allows you to peek right. You fire with the left mouse button, and the right one allows you to use the Steyr-AUG scope to snipe enemies. 1 on the keyboard allows you to select the automatic weapons, while 2 allows you to switch between McClane's pistol, flashbang grenades, and the wire cutters. And the spacebar is for jumping. The only frustrating part of the controls is that ducking is the control button. It's a little awkward to press W and control at the same time to duck and move forward. And this gave me a lot of problems in one particular part of the game, specifically the Architect mission. Which I may eventually do as a Levels from Hell, because it took me nearly 20 fucking minutes just to get inside the goddamn building! And no, that's not an exaggeration. It literally took me 20 fucking minutes to duck and crawl inside a building! I almost rage quitted the whole fucking game because of that one part. But I'll deal with that more later on. Another frustrating part like this is near the end of the game. It's the Just Like Saigon mission. Like the film, McClane is hanging off the side of the skyscraper with a fire hose. He has to shoot the glass and swing back into the building. Now I do appreciate how faithful this part is to the film, but it is a pain in the ass to do. You have to shoot the glass and swing back with the S button, then swing forward with W. When you get to the open window, you have to press W and spacebar at the same time to get onto the ledge. Time it right and you'll get onto the ledge. Time it wrong and you'll fall to your death. And your timing has to be perfect here. And I mean perfect. If you don't press the buttons at the exact same moment, you'll fuck up and lose. I think it would have worked much better if you only had to press W to get into the building rather than W and spacebar. Other than those gripes, the controls are solid. Unfortunately, the gameplay is less solid. You have your weapons indicators displayed on the lower right-hand corner of the screen, and 3 meters on the lower left. The heart represents life, the lungs represent stamina, and the brain represents morale. Why they had to show organs instead of words, I don't know. Maybe they're organ fetishists. Anyway, the life meter is pretty self-explanatory. As for the lungs, if you run too much, you slow down and have to stop to regain your stamina. Morale is a mystery to me. Apparently it's supposed to affect the terrorist's AI, but the manual didn't explain it very well, and it didn't seem to change gameplay as far as I can see. I think they should have just ditched this part of the game because it really doesn't add anything. As I said earlier, the game itself really has me torn. It is very faithful to the film in some parts. And I mean very faithful. For example, you start the game in the bathroom and escape to the 32nd floor, just like the movie. But there are some parts where the game adds in extra scenes and action that didn't happen in the film. Now some of these scenes work, but some of them don't. For example, after you kill Tony on the 32nd floor, there's a mission called the Bomber. And this wasn't in the film. In this mission, you have to stop the terrorists from blowing up the elevator shafts. And you do this by killing the lead terrorist, stealing his wire cutters, and defusing all the C4. Now this mission can be a real fucking pain in the ass, let me tell you. And why, you might ask? Because you only have a few minutes to kill all the terrorists and defuse all the bombs. Plus, if you shoot the C4 by accident, it blows up and you lose the level. Worse still, there's no time to be careful. You just have to charge through the level and hope you don't shoot the C4. So you have to be fast but careful at the same time. And good luck doing that. Now some reviewers hated this level with a burning passion. And I can see why. Honestly, I wasn't its biggest fan either, but I didn't quite hate it as much as they did. Actually, it wasn't too bad, aside from having to run back and snip all those fucking wires before time ran out.